In this section, I want to give you an example about revolve and sphere and somehow about closed surface tools. For this, I'm in generative shape design environment again. I want to draw a very simple sketch in YZ plane that's going to be a line, and I open this environment, go to sketch environment and click on the line tool here and draw a line here. You can see that there's a coincidence here that's okay for me, and I click on this endpoint of this, press Control button, click the vertical axis. I want to have 20mm distance here, and I click the other endpoint and press Control button, select the vertical axis again. I want to have 40mm of distance here, so I type in 40 here, and selecting this line, I can add a constraint here that makes about 50mm of length. So this is the sketch that I want to have, and now I'm going to use this for my revolve. So I exit my workbench, go to insert menu, surfaces, and select the revolve tool. And this is exactly the same of what you see in shaft tool. You can see that there are two angles here. You can think of these as the first direction and the second direction, or the first limit and second limit as the thing that you see in padding or pocketing. So I want to have a full round feature here, so I type in 360, and the angle 2 is not going to be such prominent thing. The revolution axis is going to be the vertical axis here, and as long as I have not hide this, I've not hidden the sketch, I can see this vertical axis. So I select this, and if it is not selectable, you can see that whenever I move my mouse over this, the whole sketch is going to be selected. I right click here, and the yellow color gives me a hint of what axis I'm going to select. This is going to be Z axis, so I select this. Now you can see a full round of the feature here. Okay, now I can go and hide my sketch here. This is the revolve that I have received here. I press the shift and the mouse, the down arrow key to rotate the shape. Now that's exactly what I want. Now the second thing that I want to select is a sphere. So I go to insert menu and go to surfaces and select the sphere tool. And this is very interesting tool here. The center of my sphere is going to be the center of my coordinates. This is not possible to select this because the sketch 1 is hidden. I cancel this out, go to sketch 1 and show the sketch. Now I can select the origin. Again, I go to insert menu and select the sphere tool here. And so the center is going to be the origin. So I move my mouse and you can see that the origin is going to be selected here. Now you can see that I have two revolution axes. One is in vertical and the second is in horizontal. And you can think of these as meridian, that is going to be the horizontal, and the parallel, that is going to be the vertical. So in parallel, again, you have two endpoints or two limits or two angles, and in horizontal you have two angles as well. So I want to start from degree 0, that is the north pole of this sphere, and I want to finish in the degree 90, that is going to be the tropical or something like this. And for meridian, I want to start from 0 and end in 360. So I want to have a full round of this sphere here. Let's see the preview of this. You can see that it is a semi-sphere that I have created here. I want it to be bigger, for example, about 50mm. So I type in 50mm here. Let's see a preview of this. Now you can see that the semi-sphere is like this. You can see that I started from degree 0 and ended in degree 90. That is the midpoint of this sphere. And for the meridian, that means the horizontal, I started in 0 and I had a full run. That means the 360 degrees. So this is the sphere that I created here. So I click on OK. Now I can hide this sketch. I do not need this anymore. Now I can use the trim tool. I have showed you how you can select the trim tool. You can go to operation menu and select the trim tool from here. And the trim tool asks you about the bodies. The first body is going to be the sphere, and the second body is going to be the revolve that I have just created. Now you can play with the size. The first button tells me about the first object, and the second button tells me about the second object. So whenever I revolve, I rotate this a little bit, you can see that this is not going to be gone. So this is part of the sphere. So I click on the first button. I can see that this is the part that I will retain. And again, I click on the second button that relate to the revolve. So I click on this and you can see that I exactly will have what I want. So I click on OK. This is what I have right now. Now I'm going to add some more items here. The first plane that I want to select is XY plane. I go to sketch environment. I want to add kind of, sunken area to the sides of this tap head. So I go and add a circle here. The circle is going to be about, let's remove this coincidence. I don't want to have any constraints right now. This circle is going to be about 40 millimeter in radius. So I type in 80 for the diameter. Now this is going to be, by selecting the center of this and selecting the horizontal line, I want to make sure that these two are coincidence, or I can add a constraint of 0. Both are the same. So I type in 0 here and make sure that this is going down. And again, I select this vertical line and select the center of this and make sure that these two are 40 millimeter away from each other. You can see that this is 90. I type in 40. Now this is not good. I should make it about 60 or 70 millimeters. 60 is okay. Now you can see that that's okay. Or even 65 is better, huh? Now that's much better, okay? I exit my workbench. And by exiting my workbench, I can use the extrude tool to extrude this. So I go to insert menu, go to surfaces and select the extrude here. And I want to have about 60 millimeter in one direction. I can see the preview. That's okay for me. I click on OK. Now let's rotate this a little bit and see what it is going to look like. I want to have 4 of these in 4 directions. So like this circular pattern, I want to go to insert menu, go to operation, and I want to select the circular pattern from here. I can see that this is not here. I guess this is going to be under replication tools. That's here, advanced replication tools, and you can see that there is rectangular pattern, circular pattern, or user pattern. I'm going to talk about user pattern later, but circular pattern is quite what I want to have. So I click on circular pattern here, and it asks me about the object that I want to have. You can see the the explanation in the bottom of your Catia. It is in status bar. I select this. Now you can see that this asks me about the angular spacing and instances that I want to have. I can select other types of this, but this is quite okay. I want to have 4 of these, and these are going to be 90 degree away from each other. So by clicking on preview, it asks me the circular pattern. These parameters are not valid, so let's change these. And do you know why it is not valid? Because I haven't selected the reference element. So I click on reference element, and I want to have z-axis as the axis. Now by clicking on this, you can see that the preview is there and the instances is correct, the angular spacing is correct, and everything seems okay for me. So I click on OK. Now I have these 4 extrudes here. 3 of them are replicated using a circular pattern. 1 of them is created using the extrude tool. Now again, I need to select the trim tool. I go to insert operations and select trim from here. And by selecting the trim, again, it asks me about the object that I want to have. First of all, I want to select this extrude and this body. That is going to be the trim that I had created previously. I want to remove this part. So I click on OK. No, this is not OK. Let's select the other side. I want to have other side of this extrude. So I click on this. Now I click on OK. That's exactly what I want. Let's hide this sketch. I don't want to see this. Again, I want to create another trim, and this time I want to select the circular pattern and the trim that I have just created. So I go to Insert menu, Operations, and select the trim tool from here. Again, I want to select this trim and the circular pattern as the other object. Now you can see that by clicking on OK, I have exactly what I want. Now this is the tab head that I just created for you, and this seems pretty good. Okay, the other thing that I want to show you is this. We are creating surfaces. You can add thickness to this. You can take this to generative shape. You can take this to part design environment by going to Insert, Mechanical Design, Part Design. And one of the tools that you see here under Insert menu, Surface Base Features, is the Closed Surface. You can select the closed surface, and by selecting this object, you can see that the ending of this surface is going to be closed like this. Now you can see that there is a closing surface here. You can of course add a thickness to the shape that you have just created here, and you can finish what you have started.